the fifth biggest, largest faith in the world. It's still got a bit of a following. We've roughly about 25 millions around the world, and the Sikhs around the world, in like not only UK, originally from India, and America, Canada, wherever you go, there are some Sikhs. But the bulk of the Sikh community is in India. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of Sikh religion in 1469, he was born in 1469, he advocated that God doesn't worry about the colour of our skin. He doesn't worry about the language we speak. He doesn't worry about the clothes we wear. He worries about the action, our action. Not because of the family we're born into, not because of we've got this much wealth or we have this much of a family. No, that's irrelevant. What Guruji said is that we're all equal in the eyes of the Creator. There's only one Creator. You may say Allah, you may say Ram, you may say God. The Sikh's name for the Creator is Waheguru. Waheguru, wondrous Creator. So from that concept, in the 15th century, equality is very important. Gender equality, not only like status equality, but also gender equality from the 15th century. You can imagine in that time in India, females were not allowed to contribute anything towards religious ceremonies. They weren't allowed to do anything that was involved a faith. They were mainly just housewives. They were just there to look after the house, produce children, bring them up, and that was that sort of thing. But Guruji said that everybody has a right. Everybody has the right to contribute something. And the female we marry, the female we befriend, the female we marry, and we're born from the female. So without the female, there'll be no human race. So we have to show the highest respect to the female. So equality from the 15th century, can you imagine that? The people today, we're still fighting about female priests. How can a female read from the, how can a female become a reverend or something like that? No. Well, Guru Nanak gave that opportunity way back then. And whether, considering your ability, you were given that opportunity to contribute into the whole ceremony. So Sikh women can read from the scriptures and give the sermon, can do the kirtan. As you probably noticed, we were doing some singing on the stage there. The females can also do that. And the main prayer, the ardas, females can also do that. So this is a very, very important part of the Sikh faith. But Guru Nanak said in that 15th century that there's only one God. Remember that God always. Regardless of whether we're in happy times or sad times, whether we're in a comfort zone or an uncomfort zone, wherever we are, think of God always. And it's not that God is in one building or one area or in one direction. God is omnipresent, everywhere. But most important, God is within us. God is in the individual. Guru says, if you can't see God in all, you don't see God at all. It's a simple analogy. Everything, every creation, everything, whether it's nature, whether it's the oceans, whether it's the birds, whether it's, most important, whether it's human beings. If you don't treat human beings as human beings, then you don't see God at all. So right from the 15th century, this has been the whole concept, the whole ethos of the Sikh faith. Living off honest earnings. To work hard, regardless of what you do. If it's like if you think maybe a lonely job is like sweeping the streets, or maybe something doing that's not like a doctor or a scientist, but any job, any profession you choose, you will do it to the best of your ability, and the Creator will give you everything you need to support you, yourself and your family. Then sharing those earnings with the needy. 3 golden rules of Sikh faith. Naam japna, kirt karna, van shakna. Remember God always, live off honest earnings, and share those earnings with the needy. So sharing doesn't only come in monetary form. Sharing comes in physical form also, but also in your intellect. So if you help someone to better themselves, educating them, giving them some knowledge, it's not just about handouts all the time. There's a lot of going on just now about giving people food. You give someone food and they're full and they're happy. but they've actually not improved their life in at all, really. We have to educate people. We have to give them something to better so they can actually work for themselves, to earn something for themselves, and they can work hard for themselves and for their family, rather than just always looking to have handouts. So Guruji teaches us that you have to give the three ways of giving, sharing, whether it's monetary, whether it's physical, or whether it's your intellect. Three ways of giving yourself up. Selfless service, they call it, seva. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was like very important, obviously to Sikh faith, but many people from different faiths also followed the teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Ji had two companions way back in those days, a Muslim companion, also a Hindu companion. Although Guru Nanak Ji is born in the Hindu family, he did not follow the tenets of the Hindu faith. The superstitions, the high and low caste was very prevalent, and it still is today. You probably heard about what happens to the low caste people in India. They're very maltreated, like, you know, they're not treated equally and not given opportunity to become whatever they can be possibly. So they're given, there's a discrimination, and it's still there today. But in the Sikh faith, Guruji said that's unfair. Only God has the right to judge anybody, and according to their actions, not according to what they're born into, the ability. They can do if they've got the ability, they have to have the opportunity to contribute. So Guruji said that he had a Hindu and a Muslim companion. So showing that equality is there. He's not trying to convert people, but change the way they do. He says, if you're a Muslim, be a good Muslim. If you're a Hindu, be a good Muslim. Be a good Hindu. So live according to your faith, as your prophets or as your peers have ordained it, but don't try to forcibly convert people. During the Sikh faith, there was nine other successors to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and during that period there was a lot of turmoil, persecution, and conflict between the indigenous people and also invaders, people that were trying to convert everyone to one faith, and namely that was Islam, or you could say Christianity, but Islam more so, because Islam was very, very violent in trying to convert people. Whether you either accept Islam or you were put to death. There was no other choice. There was no middle ground. There was only either accept or be put to death.
Something what ISIS is doing now.
Yeah, if you look at the, you know, what's happening today, is about that going to, and even in those days there were many Muslims that were fighting this, and many Muslims that went with that Sharia law, but there was many Muslims that were fighting against that also to protect the people that no, this is wrong. This is not the way of the Muslim faith. Yeah. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji started the Sikh faith. Guru Arjan Dev Ji in the 16th century was martyred because Guru Arjan Dev Ji compiled the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but Akbar, who was the ruler then, he was happy, he was okay with it, but Jahangir wasn't. He said that, okay, he was trying to change some of the Guru Granth Sahib Ji and put some more towards Islam, favour Islam. And Guruji said, no, this is the word of God, it's come from the Creator, passed down through, and it's now contained within the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And this cannot be changed. Subsequently, he was put to death, martyred in 1606, and his son, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, the sixth Guru, whose day we're celebrating the day of, we call Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Bandi Shor Data. He was a great liberator. Now he was a secular ruler, but he also followed the Sikh faith. He was the son of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, but he was more secular, and he had two swords, carried two swords, one of spiritual faith and one of temporal, spiritual authority and one of temporal authority. So Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji is known as Miri Piri the Malik. Now the emperor at that time, Jahangir, wasn't very happy with Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji because he had an army, and the army of the land was ruled by the Mughals, Jahangir, who was the ruler then. And he said, okay, this is not so good. Maybe my rule has been threatened, and we have to try to curb this enthusiasm towards the Sikh faith. And he hatched this plan to say that, okay, we have I'm not well. He said, okay, I'm not well, so we have to do something to help me get better. So get as many holy people as possible and put them in the prison in Gurdwara. There's a fort in Gurdwara. I don't know if you've heard of Gurdwara. It's a fort not far from Agra, where the Taj Mahal is. But there's a fort there, and it was kept there. It's a very centuries-old fort. It's not now. It's a very old fort, and a lot of princes and holy people in prison there. And Guru Hargobind Singh was also in prison there to pray for Jahangir. Obviously, this wasn't going to work. Jahangir was unwell, and he came better. But it was more that he was intolerant. He was swayed by his Wazirs to say that these rulers are not really for you, they're not really actually supporting Islam. So let's put them in prison and just use this as a pretense that they're praying for you. Anyway, eventually he was convinced to release Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, but Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji refused to go free because he said that there are many other people that are imprisoned in Gurdwara fort, and they were known as like prisoners of conscience, and just because of their different faith, different belief. He said, I will only go free unless you free those people. So he said, okay, well, whoever can hold on to you can also go free. And Guruji had a cloak made of 52 tassels on it. So it allowed the 52 Rajas and princes to hold on to each tassel and go free. Now, this coincides with Diwali, which we all know is the Festival of Lights. But Bandi Shor Divas means the great liberator. He liberated those people. The Sikhs have fought in 2 world wars, liberating many different peoples around the world. They've sacrificed their lives, and this was the teaching of Guruji's from that time, even to the 20th century, to the 21st century. There's still Sikhs that sacrifice their lives today, protecting other people's right to worship. Not to force people to worship one way or another, but to worship as they wish. Your choice, whether you want to believe in a God or not believe in a God. That's your God-given right. Nobody can force you to believe in one thing or another.